Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I hope you're having a great week. It is the middle of the week. It is time to just double check, make sure you're on track with everything. So I'm going to start you out with the quote of the day from the Daily Mastermind mobile app and the Facebook page. And the quote of the day is from Mike Todd, and it says, "Remember, you can't steal second if you don't take your foot off first." Remember, you can't steal second if you don't take your foot off first. This is such a great quote. I was watching my son Jaron at baseball practice last night, and I was thinking about that. And I was looking at the different individuals and the people that were playing, the kids, right? And, who was aggressive, who wasn't aggressive, how they play and how they perform. And boy, it's, there's so much that has to do with your fears in life. And baseball is one of those examples. And so anyway, I love that. I love that quote. So let's talk today about a common topic that I just keep continuing to hear from individuals inside the mastermind, as well as people that I've come in contact with. And it's this whole idea of getting out of a rut. Everyone seems to feel stuck. It could be the internal isolation or the quarantine and things like that related to COVID. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, most of our feelings, our thoughts and emotions are related to being stuck are in our mind. And I ran across an amazing article. I just wanted to share it with you today. It was an article in Entrepreneur Magazine by John Rampton with Entrepreneur Magazine, and it was 15 techniques you can use to get back on your game. So, we all know that productivity really starts to slip when you lose your motivation and when you're feeling stressed and anxious. And when you're having those kind of issues, you feel like you get in a rut. It's a mental rut most of the time. And of course, there are outside influences like, bills and finances and things that happen with your health and loved ones and things like that. But a lot of times we get ourselves into a mental rut. And he had 15 really good techniques I really liked on how to get back on your game, get back to moving forward and moving forward productively. So let's go through those relatively quickly here in the time we have. Number one, focus only on your main goal. Here's the bottom line. Splitting your focus can drain your energy and your motivation. Sometimes what we do is we tend to get too busy, too many things, too many on our list, too many different focuses. The first suggestion he has is to focus on your main goal only. And that's one of the things I do as well. Go back to what's the most important thing and just put a bunch of effort into that till you start seeing some progress. Number two, find out how you're spending your time. The best way to find out what's happening is to track your day and how you're spending your time. Because if you want to increase your productivity and motivation, you need to know what you're doing and where you're wasting time, and you can eliminate things that aren't working for you. So find out how you're spending your time. Number three, he says, come on, get happy. Come on, get happy. The bottom line is motivation increases when your dopamine increases, right? So there's lots of ways to increase your dopamine, your happiness level, and there's a lot of, I probably could have a whole bunch of podcasts on just the ideas behind brain hacks, but let me just give you a few. Learn to celebrate your wins. Learn to share your results with other people, with family. Learn to set micro or smaller deadlines or smaller wins, because the more wins, the more recognition, the more sharing you do, the more dopamine you're going to have, right? Or you may decide to just take a 10-minute nap, or switch from your left brain to your right brain. If you're doing real analytical stuff, get creative for a while, and vice versa. You can eat several different types of foods, or you could just go for a short walk. Find some ways to increase your dopamine. It'll definitely increase your motivation. Number four, strike a pose. I love this one because over the years I've had so many hundreds of different speakers that have worked for me. But the body language is definitely something that's tied directly to your mindset and energy. You know that because when people are depressed and anxious, their shoulders hunch over, their head's kind of down. But when their head is up and your shoulders are back and you're standing up straight, there's a definite connection between your mind and body. And there's a technique that a lot of speakers have tried and used, and that is they'll strike that Superman pose before a speech or a talk or something like that, where you just kind of put your hands on your hips and you just puff your chest out and you look up, and try it. You should try that today, because I'll tell you, when you do that pose and you just kind of move your body, you can't help but get a little bit more energy and get a little bit more positive to your mindset. So strike a pose is number 4. Number 5, develop a pre-game routine. Now, this is huge because this is like rituals, right? Having a routine you put yourself into a motivated state with can help you not only when you're doing it, but when you don't have the motivation to continue. Because when you're in a routine and you're in habit, you're going to push through things. You're going to get out of that rut whether you feel like you're in the mood or not. So develop that pre-game routine. Like in the mornings, I always do the same thing. I wake up, I get a big glass of water, I get something to eat, do some meditation, I throw on a podcast. If I need to get motivated, I'll pick one that really gets me going. Then I go to the gym. And so, I have this routine I go through to put myself in a state of motivation, a state of inspiration. That's something that I highly recommend, developing that pre-game routine. Get yourself in a state. Number 6, set the bar low. Now this doesn't mean don't ever shoot for anything. What I'm saying is when you're not motivated, encourage yourself with small wins. Sometimes when you go work out or you go to work or whatever and you're not feeling motivated, recognize the fact that you're still moving forward. Recognize that you went to work out. Recognize that you got up out of bed. Recognize that you're moving forward with your tasks. Set the bar low so that you can recognize and reward yourself, and those little wins will bring that motivation back. Number 7, overcome your fears. This is a big one because sometimes, when we fear something or we have stress or anxiety, our motivation lowers. And if you can develop techniques to conquer your fears, it will help you to feel successful and move forward. So sometimes it just takes getting up and doing something you don't feel you want to do. Another technique you can use to overcome your fears is you can name your fears. When you name your fears, you're taking that third-party stance and identifying them. And the bottom line is overcoming fears is a great way to increase your motivation. Okay, so next one, number 8, reward yourself. Recognition for your accomplishments will absolutely increase your self-confidence, your self-worth, and your motivation. So many times we're not willing to acknowledge our wins because we're so competitive and we're trying so hard to get to the next level that we're not satisfied with anything we have. Whereas that could continually wear out your confidence levels and your self-esteem. So you have to recognize and celebrate your accomplishments by rewarding yourself. And as you do that, your self-confidence goes up, your motivation goes up, your productivity goes up. So look for ways to reward yourself for what you're doing. Number 9, practice positive self-talk. When you practice positive self-talk, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing that'll motivate you more. And there's a technique that I didn't know until recently. There's a bunch of science behind the fact that when you actually practice self-talk in the second or third person, right, where you talk about yourself in third person, it actually has reportedly given you higher levels of confidence than if I said, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're great. Or if I said, George, you have done an amazing job. George, you are this. When you say that, and I think it's what they say in these reports and these studies is that it's better and it's higher levels of confidence when you have validation externally, just because that's kind of how we're hardwired. So think about positive self-talk, but think about doing it in the second and third person, right? Okay, number 10, the fresh start effect. Now, for those of you that know me, you know that, man, George likes change. Well, the reason I like change is because I know that it's going to take change to move forward. You know what this is like because January 1st, you're always setting New Year's resolutions, and sometimes you make them and sometimes you don't. But you don't need to wait till the first of the year to start fresh. Set a new goal today. Set a new thing, write a note to yourself that you're now going to make a new change. Every day is a new day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and you need to start fresh. When you start fresh, then you're not in a rut because you're not thinking about what you haven't done. You're ready to start what you're going to be doing. And we're in the second quarter. We're in the third quarter now. Second half of the year. It's time to rock and roll. Let's get you going and get you moving forward with a fresh start today. That's number 10. Number 11, the 11th suggestion that they have is have someone hold you accountable. And I couldn't recommend this more. I mean, accountability creates results. It creates motivation. It's that external thing that keeps you moving forward, whether you want to or not. And having someone to hold you accountable will keep you from falling into those ruts because they'll push you. And make sure you find the right person to hold you accountable, whether it's in your fitness, your business, your personal life, your relationship, whatever it is. Okay, number 12, focus on positive outcomes. This boils back to the whole idea of abundant mentality versus scarcity. Just the fact that you're thinking you may be in a rut is a scarcity mentality. It doesn't matter where you've been or what you're doing. It matters where you're going. So you've got to shift on positive outcomes and positive mindset, which is that abundant mental game. Create an abundant mental game. And you do that through affirmations, meditation, inundate yourself, surround yourself, whether it's podcasts, other people, going wherever you're going. Be around positive influences. Number 13, the 13th way to help you trigger yourself and get out of a rut is to tap into your bigger purpose. Sometimes taking a step back gives you perspective and helps you to stay focused and eliminate the overwhelm. It's like Wayne Dyer says, one of my favorite authors, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you step back and look at the tapestry of your life, you're going to realize that things were happening for a reason. And so when you take a step back and you give yourself perspective and you look at the bigger purpose, then those little things like being in a rut won't be as significant. They won't look as big when you step back and take perspective. So tap into your bigger purpose and get some perspective. Number 14, how to get out of a rut. Get some more green into your life. I actually think this is really huge. Colors do impact your psychology. It's proven. And the color green is what's been used to spark creativity, motivation, and energy. So get some more green in your life. Put some plants, get some pictures, get things with that color will spark your creativity. If you're in a dull, drab, boring environment, that's the way your mental psychology is going to be going. So make some changes there. And the last one, and this is probably the best one, is find daily inspiration. External sources of inspiration will help you when your internal motivation is low. Things like books, like quotes, TED Talks, support from a friend, seeking out new sources all the time. I've always got, and you got to have them readily available, whether it's books or playlists or videos or playlists on YouTube or your top podcasts, or whether it's certain music. I've got a couple playlists for events. I've got playlists for working out. You need to have as many sources as possible to inspire you, because that inspiration will create motivation and will help change your internal motivation to a higher level. And that's something I highly recommend. I mean, that's why you're listening to the Daily Mastermind, I would assume, unless it's playing on the background somewhere else, somebody's playing it. Listen, you're here because you want daily motivation, inspiration, and education. And that's what I'm here to help you with. And, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. You've been hanging out with me today. I hope you hang out with others that will drive you to your full potential. It's definitely never too late to start living the life that you are meant to live. And I hope these 15 techniques are something that might be able to help you. And I would ask, encourage, and really appreciate if you would share this podcast episode with someone that you know. Do it today. You never know what people around you need. You can't even guess as to what they need. Share this podcast. Download the Daily Mastermind mobile app. There is a freaking ton of free resources in there for you to use. I encourage you to do that. I hope you have an amazing day today, and I will talk to you soon. This is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.